Luthra brothers, remember, who fled to Phuket, have now been seeking an anticipatory bail. The Luthra brothers have in fact sought this anticipatory bail before the Rohini court, where it has been filed for, is what we are being told. The absconders in Phuket now seeking that anticipatory bail. You remember just yesterday, one of the brothers was spotted, that picture being accessed from the airport there in Phuket. Let's quickly, in fact, bring in Yesha Kotak, who's joining us live on the broadcast with more details. So, Yesha, on what grounds are they, first of all, seeking this anticipatory bail, and what are the expectations? Or are they even, is there any hope for them to be getting this anticipatory bail?
So, this comes in on unexpected lines. Clearly, when a blue collar notice was issued against the Luthra brothers, it was made quite evident that they'd be moving anticipatory bail after having fled the country, so that on these grounds they could eventually come and say that they've cooperated with the investigation, but not have the chances of being arrested. Clearly with the kind of information that has come out in open, one really cannot comment on what will be the order that will be passed by the judge there. But with this whole information, the whole story coming to limelight so often, what's important to note is that, of course, the Luthra brothers would be questioned, for their role.
Welcome back to CNN News 18 with me, Himkor Saroya, and our news that we're just getting right now for you. We're learning that Pakistan's political and security establishment is engaged in intense deliberations over launching a treason case against former Prime Minister Imran Khan and potentially banning his party. That's the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf. Now, sources have told CNN News 18 that the federal government under Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif, in coordination with the military leadership, believes Khan's conduct has crossed multiple red lines, ranging from alleged breach of national security to actions said to have destabilized Pakistan's diplomatic relationships and internal security environment. This is what we're hearing right now. Pakistan's political and security establishment, we're learning, is engaged in intense deliberations over launching a treason case against former Prime Minister Imran Khan. Now, for more on this, we're now being joined by Akanksha Sarup. Akanksha, thank you so much for joining us on this. Of course, legal woes just continue to mount for Imran Khan. What can you tell us, Akanksha?
Right, these are inputs shared by Securities Editor Mr. Manoj Gupta, and what we're being told is that the current federal government and military establishment are thinking that Imran Khan is the one responsible for damaging Pakistan's development by deteriorating relations with critical states like the United States, China and Saudi Arabia. They are blaming Khan and his cabinet ministers when they were in governance that China and the investors were involved in. They alleged that China was involved in corruption and kickbacks through CPEC projects. Imran Khan demanded audit of CPEC projects and funding. That annoyed China. Imran Khan also blamed the US for his ouster in 2022 and started a public movement against America. They are also saying that Imran Khan demanded additional funds from Saudi Arabia and disrespected Saudi Arabia's top leaders, including Mohammed bin Salman, which also missed another significant ally to Pakistan. So these are the kind of flimsy grounds that are being built by the Shehbaz Sharif puppet regime under Field Marshal Asim Munir to justify their actions against Imran Khan. They're saying that it is also Imran Khan's government who brought back and settled the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan terrorists in Pakistan, the militants, and the terrorism has surged above 600%, and thousands of soldiers and citizens have been killed due to Imran Khan's unpopular decision of aligning with the TTP and Afghan Taliban. And they're saying that on the account of above charges and sensitive information on nukes may lead Imran Khan towards a treason case. So if Imran Khan, his Hawk Party members and family are not going to cooperate with the federal government and institutions, and the consequences are going to be very severe. In fact, just last Friday, the ISPR Director General, Lieutenant General Ahmad Sharif, had castigated Pakistan's Tehreek-e-Insaf founder and former Prime Minister Imran Khan and his party PTI's anti-armies rhetoric, terming Imran Khan as a mentally ill person. Now, they are also blaming Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, particularly because, remember, this is one province which is also ruled by the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf. Sohail Afridi is the chief minister there, and Imran Khan's party politicians, which the governance in Pakistan, the establishment believes, are instigating violence and agitation against the government. They want to create chaos and anarchy to destabilize Pakistan, and Imran Khan's sisters are using Indian media platforms to defame Pakistan government and military establishment under Asim Munir, and this is perhaps the kind of reasoning that they are now giving to build a case against Imran Khan.
All right. Well, Akanksha, thank you so much for your analysis of that as well. All right, with that, we're going to slip into a very short break. Don't go anywhere. News and updates will continue on the other side. All right, and in news that we're just getting right now, Amazon is to invest $35 billion across its business in India by 2030. This as per a company official source who has said that Amazon has big plans to invest big in India, US $35 billion across its businesses in India by the year 2030, a mammoth goal that appears to be. This as per company officials. For more on this, we have Aman Sharma live with us. Aman, what can you tell us?
Well, Hem, yes, this is the flurry of investments being committed by global giants towards India, speaks of the India's success story. The latest we have right now is that Amazon is to invest $35 billion across its businesses in India by 2030. This is what a company official of Amazon is saying, and this only adds on to what Google, what Microsoft have committed just yesterday. Microsoft has committed $17.5 billion after Satya Nadella met Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and this is the biggest Asia investment to power India's AI first push, biggest investment in Asia being done by Microsoft. This was committed yesterday. Just a month ago, we had Google committing $15 billion of investment through an AI hub in Vizag. So if we compile all this, if we compile Google, Microsoft and Amazon's investments, it is nearly $70 billion of investment for India in the last couple of months, coming from big giants, from Amazon, from Cognizant, from Google, and all of these, Intel, in fact, also the Intel boss also met the Prime Minister yesterday, and Intel and Tata have signed a breakthrough MOU to major push to India semiconductor ecosystem, manufacturing system. So all of this combined, shows the growing faith, I would say, of the global giants, of the India's growth story. India is the fastest growing economy right now, even after COVID, while other countries' growth has petered out. India remains a bright story on the terms of growth. Even Q2 numbers of GDP have reflected that. And I think the confidence of these top leaders of global companies coming and meeting the Prime Minister, committing this investment. As I said, Amazon now saying $35 billion. Microsoft yesterday saying $17.5 billion will be invested. Google investing $15 billion is its biggest AI hub in Vizag. All this is showing that how global companies are not just seeing India as a market for their products and their services, but also investing in its growth story, and they see a lot of prospect and a lot of future in India going ahead.
Absolutely, Aman. As you mentioned as well, this US e-commerce giant is only a latest in a string of many, many big global tech firms to deepen their presence in India as well. They're betting big on India's growth. All right, and in news that we're just getting right now, Amazon is to invest $35 billion across its business in India by 2030. This as per a company official source who has said that Amazon has big plans to invest big in India, US $35 billion across its businesses in India by the year 2030, a mammoth goal that appears to be. This as per company officials. For more on this, we have Aman Sharma live with us. Aman, what can you tell us?
Well, Hem, yes, this is the flurry of investments being committed by global giants towards India, speaks of the India's success story. The latest we have right now is that Amazon is to invest $35 billion across its businesses in India by 2030. This is what a company official of Amazon is saying, and this only adds on to what Google, what Microsoft have committed just yesterday. Microsoft has
All right, welcome back to CNN News 18 with me, Hem Kaur. We're of course tracking all the developments when it comes to the Goa nightclub tragedy. The fallout of this tragedy that claimed 25 lives is intensifying further. Law is now catching up with the fugitive owners, Saurabh and Gaurav Luthra, who fled to Thailand hours after that blaze at Birch by Romeo Lane. The Luthras for now have moved Rohini Court and have filed an anticipatory bail while they continue to remain on the run. Bulldozers have already demolished part of their flagship property in Vagator as authorities tighten the noose. Goa police yesterday also detained another accused, a certain Ajay Gupta from Delhi. Top Delhi police sources have told CNN News 18 that the accused had checked himself into a hospital citing spinal pain. The Goa police is likely to seek custody transfer for Ajay Gupta, who has recorded his statement with the crime branch earlier today also. Meanwhile, Interpol has issued a blue corner notice against the absconding Luthra brothers who remain in Thailand, we're given to understand, and the Ministry of External Affairs has begun the process of cancelling their passports.
And Interpol is also going on so that we apprehend them, and they brought the two of them who fled India. We are in the process of getting them back to India, and the other accused also, which are in our radar, teams have been formed and sent to different parts of other states also, and we are after them to book them behind the bars. Actually, they were the operational managers. They had to manage the day-to-day affairs. One had to look after the basic operations, electrical things are put in place, and the fire extinguishers are there. So they were the operational people who were, and each manager had the specific role of the operation of the nightclub. So their role was also found negligent, and that's why we
What about Madam?
Fifth accused, we arrested him from Delhi, and he has landed in Goa, and he'll be produced in the court.
All right, now bringing you a CNN News 18 mega exclusive on this Goa nightclub tragedy. Documents reveal that repeated warnings over illegal construction and safety violations at a club in Goa were ignored for the past 2 years, which finally culminated in this tragic accident. The club was built in a restricted area on land officially designated as saltpan and agricultural wetland, where commercial construction is strictly prohibited. So we're learning more about the illegal nature of this club. Also, despite this, the property had a club, restaurant, RCCG +1 building, water platform, decks and shops, all operating without any license or any sort of clearance. This is what we're learning right now also. So this was just from what we are learning right now, a disaster waiting to happen. For more on this, we have with us Simran. Simran, thank you so much for joining us. Now, the more we learn about this, the more we understand that this was truly just a recipe for a disaster waiting to happen.
Very rightly said. In fact, the documents that we have accessed in this regard go on to show now the repeated warnings that were time and again being ignored, and not just in fact to this very property, but the entire land that was encroached, that was illegally being operated. And if we speak of these documents one by one, starting by the demolition notice that was sent by the under section 66 of the Goa Panchayat, where it was mentioned that on the complaint that was lodged by the whistleblower Pradeep Ghadi Amonkar, and this demolition notice that has been sent here. And while we speak of the inspection notice that was also sent to this very property at the Arpora Road, which was also in fact having the names of both the Luthra brothers. The demolition notice that I have right now mentions clearly that it was issued on the 20th of the April last year. It also had attached the notices of the site inspection notice that was on the complaint of the illegal construction. So if we understand both of these in context, first, in fact, the demolition notice was put up on the basis of how exactly the warnings that have been repeatedly sent were time and again ignored. And it has mentioned the times where the checks were being regulated. It was being sent also time and again on the procedural basis to the property owners. Later on, the site inspection notice that we have next, and I would also like to show it to my viewers while we speak of this site inspection notice. It goes on to also mention that the Panchayat copy is also mentioned here, where the Goa Panchayat Raj Act 1994 of the Act 14 mentions that the site inspection notice was issued under this letter simultaneously was carried out on the 17th of January 2024. Last year, it was found out that you have carried out unauthorized construction of the shop, not just the nightclub, but restaurants, 6 number of structures all of this being operated on the CRZ zone without any proper license. And not just of that, it also had 2 numbers of platform in the alleged salt pan located at this very plot of the village Arpora. Now, to begin with, how exactly this nexus was being operated, was being flouted, it was happening under the guise of these officials of the Goa, in fact, MCD as well, where the village Arpora situated in the Bardes, they had also flouted this for a long time. The legal battle from the actual owner, where he had bought this land and sent to Mr. Khosla, is also named in these copies that we have with us on our screens. And through that, in fact, we understand that time and again these repeated warnings were flouted. And all of these owners, along with the partners as well, are named in these complaints. And these complaints only go on to show the extent till which all of the warnings that were sent by the Goa Panchayat, by the site inspection officials as well, were ignored one after the other.
Absolutely, Simran. Now, of course, based on the response of the club owners, also the Mr. Gupta, who has now been detained, of course, their response to this has left much to be desired. They don't seem to care much about what has gone on, let alone caring about making sure that all permissions, all clearances were in place. That being said, what you are saying that this was a CRZ restricted area and on land officially designated as a salt pan agricultural wetland, where commercial construction, we all know, is strictly prohibited. That being said, do you think this points to further systemic issues and lapses also?
Absolutely, as you have rightly pointed out that there were times when there was also enough time given for a reply to be filed and to be sent in this matter, where if we see the document with me right now, it can be understood that it has been mentioned that you have failed to produce any documentary evidence whatsoever in the 15-day time that had been given to you, and proving the legality of the said unauthorized construction of these shops, these restaurants, and the number of structures, which were 6 in total, with the platforms in the alleged salt pan that was located in the same village. And this is the demolition notice that I would also like to show to my viewers for another time, where we see that the site inspection notice had the previous copies as well of the Goa Panchayat order attached with it, where all the persons, including the owners, the partners, the directors, the occupiers of the alleged illegal land which was operating on the unauthorized part and the construction was carrying out, were summoned, and they were also given enough time to be filing a reply, but they have failed that. And following that, they continue to carry out the constructions, not just in that alleged site, but also in the nearby plots which were not taking any kind of prior clearances or any kind of mandates. The site inspection notice also dates back to the last month or the first month of 2024, where the construction has also been cited out to remain present despite the sending of all the legal notices, as we can see.
Right. Well, of course, Simran, thank you so much for showing us that notice also, and thank you so much for bringing us all the details and what it reads like. Now, in more information that we're getting right now, Goa police have arrested Saurabh Luthra's car driver in connection with this case. And according to police sources, the driver's name had surfaced during the interrogation of the Romeo Club manager. So this is what you are learning right now, that the Goa police have now arrested Saurabh Luthra's car driver in connection with this case. And as per the sources, as per police sources, his name came up during interrogations with the manager of the Romeo Club. So for more on this, let's just go across to Yesha, who is on the broadcast with us. Yesha, thank you so much for staying on with us. Of course, another arrest that has been made in connection to the Luthra brothers and this entire Goa nightclub tragedy. It is the driver of Saurabh Luthra. Now, this is interesting, Yesha, because if you remember, we were discussing this with Ankur a few days yesterday as well, how the drivers, all of their cars were not where they used to be. They completely fled within the span of an hour, hour and a half. They had 6 to 7 cars, nowhere to be found, no one at their residence, no one at the headquarters, but now finally the Saurabh Luthra's car driver has been arrested.
Absolutely. When we speak of this, like we've been speaking about for a couple of days, considering the fact that both the Luthra brothers have escaped, what's important at this point is that cops will try and gather information from anyone close to them or anyone who's present now in the country. This one last night was when we got to know that Ajay Gupta, who was one of the partners in the club, has been detained. He's being brought to Goa shortly from now. Parallelly, we also see now the driver has also been taken in custody. However, so far when we spoke to Goa police, they've gone further to mention that the questioning is on. Whether the driver is being arrested or not is something that we have to wait to find out. Of course, here the links of that driver has to be certain with Luthra brothers. Did he have anything to do with the club? All of this will be under the scanner of Goa police, and which is where, considering the fact that Goa police has been in Delhi for a couple of days now, they're trying to establish and draw links to Luthra brothers who've managed to escape from the country. Here they would in fact want to understand how did the Luthra brothers escape.
Absolutely.
That will only be confirmed once they speak to the driver. Yes.
Absolutely. Now, of course, we have more information that we're getting right now. Indian agencies have now, we're given to understand, prepared a legally solid court-ready case holding the owners culpable for deaths due to negligence. But procedural lapses, missing documents and unclear charges have slowed this entire extradition process. Authorities are investigating if the accused perhaps travelled through multiple countries, which complicates coordination with each nation's immigration and requires diplomatic clearance also, which could cause further delays. From what we do know right now for certain is that the Luthra brothers, immediately after the fire broke out at Birch by Romeo Lane, fled to Thailand. This was a 5:30 a.m. IndiGo flight that they took. Around 10 a.m. they were in Thailand, in Phuket in Thailand. Now we are given to understand in this in the information that we're just getting right now that Indian agencies have prepared a legally solid and court-ready case holding the owners culpable of deaths due to negligence. However, there may be a couple of other snags that they might face, and that could cause further delays in this case. Also, Yesha, let me just come back to, this is just further proof that this was a well-hatched out, fleshed out plan immediately executed after Birch by Romeo Lane was ravaged by the fire and the 25 lives that were lost. They took an IndiGo airline flight on a day when some 600 to 700 flights were cancelled. They managed to avert authorities each step of the way. Really, this was a well-executed plan as of now.
Absolutely. Here this of course raises questions about how within a couple of hours, even before the FIR was filed, even before an LOC could be issued against Luthra brothers, was where they managed to escape from Delhi. Within a span of less than half an hour or an hour was where they were out of their house. Within less than 5.5 hours of the tragedy, they were already on a flight to Phuket. Now, what's important to note here is that when it comes to connecting with the central agencies and the diplomatic powers of all the countries. So far, we've heard Goa police saying that they'll get Luthra brothers back very soon. But like we know that it is a long diplomatic process. Though a blue corner notice has been issued, it also means that the treaty that India has with Thailand, they would have to in fact refer to that, and then there'll be diplomatic channels wherein discussions can take place. But one of the loopholes, right here is that if they've managed to escape, have they managed to escape on a valid visa? If not, if they're staying there, it could be easier to get them deported, then get them via diplomatic channels. All of this is something that the agencies are still mulling to understand, and this is of course, where the entire to and fro is taking place between the central agencies and Goa police. Yes.
Absolutely, Yesha, and thank you so much for bringing us the latest on this. Of course, as you've mentioned as well, this appears to be a well-fleshed out plan, and it's shocking really that within an hour and a half, this all was done within that span, an hour and a half, when they left for the airport, took that flight, IndiGo flight from New Delhi to go to Phuket, Thailand. The brothers took their drivers and took their cars. Now we are hearing that one of the drivers of Saurabh Luthra has been arrested, and that could further give us clues as to what really was going on here. But this does really point to a larger nexus here. Perhaps they did have some inside intel on this also. We are of course also getting more reactions which are pouring in. Let's just listen into some of those.
हमने 11:15 के अप्रॉक्सीमेट वहाँ पे एंट्री की थी क्लब में। बस वहाँ पे म्यूज़िक चल रहा था, डांसर्स थे, डांस कर रहे थे, इंजॉय कर रहे थे हम लोग। हम इनफैक्ट हम वीडियो भी बना रहे थे। तो वहाँ पे गन फायर जो चलता है, परफॉर्मेंस के साथ जो चलता है, स्पार्कल गन जो चलता है वहाँ पे, वो भी 3-4 बार चला। मुझे सब बोला गया है कि हाँ सिलेंडर फटा, बट ऐसा नहीं हुआ। वो आग जो लगी थी मेरे हिसाब से उसी से लगी है। लोग पैनिक करने लग गए, लोग भागो 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 पैनिक करने लगे, चीखने चिल्लाने लग गए। एकदम से इतना धुआं हो गया वहाँ पर। मैं थोड़ा सा आगे बढ़ी, मेरी फैमिली थोड़ा सा पीछे रह गई। लोग धक्का मुक्की करने लगे और मुझे ऐसा लगा कि मेरे हस्बैंड ने मेरी तीनों सिस्टर को साथ में लेके वो नीचे चले गए। उनको
अच्छा, आपको ऐसा लगा?
हाँ, और वो नीचे की तरफ चले गए शायद। मैम कंपनसेशन जो भी वो बता रहे हैं, मुझे एग्जैक्टली पता नहीं है वो कितना है, बट जैसे मुझे मेरे फैमिली मेम्बर्स ने बताया है, बट आई एम नॉट सेटिस्फाइड विद दिस। क्योंकि मैंने अपनी फैमिली के मैम 4 लोग हुए, मेरे हस्बैंड जो मेरी फैमिली के करता धरता थे। क्या होगा हमारी फैमिली का? मेरी मम्मी के, मेरे पेरेंट्स को देखो मैम, उनके एक साथ 3 बेटियाँ, उनके एक जवाई एक साथ ख़त्म हो गई, 4-4 लाशें घर से निकली है। उनकी सिंपैथी से क्या होगा? जब उनको बचाने का टाइम था तब उन्होंने किसी ने एक्शन नहीं लिया। अब वो सिंपैथी दिखा रहे हैं जब सब लोग खत्म हो गए।
Good afternoon and a warm welcome. You're watching CNN-News18 with me, Griha. Let's begin with the headlines. After fleeing to Thailand, Luthra brothers seek anticipatory bail as agencies push for their return. CNN-News18 exclusively speaks to the whistleblower who reveals how this tragedy was waiting to happen, and even he was threatened by the brothers for raising irregularities about their club in the past. Goa nightclub co-owner Ajay Gupta detained, claims innocence. Meanwhile, bulldozer crackdown escalates. Goa cops question driver of Luthra brothers as probe widens into the pub Inferno. Reports indicate the driver had been named as operations head in documents filed by fugitive brothers. CNN-News18 investigation reveals rampant fire norm breaches in Delhi and Bengaluru clubs. Day after Centre's announcement of 10% curtailment of IndiGo flights, SpiceJet announces additional 100 flights during the current winter schedule, subject to regulatory approvals. US tech giants show clear disagreement with President Trump over his India dead economy remark as they beat big on Bharat with mega investments after Microsoft's $17.5 billion investment. Now Amazon announces $35 billion investment in the country. Lok Sabha to resume debate on election reforms. All eyes on Home Minister Amit Shah's reply. BJP targets leader of opposition Rahul Gandhi over his Germany visit during parliament session, labels him leader of partying. Let's begin with our top focus story, which is about India's largest airline, the IndiGo Airlines, that has been ordered to cut its flight and its fleet by 10% as the government has stepped in to stabilise operations after days of disruption. Civil Aviation Minister Ram Mohan Naidu has pulled up IndiGo CEO Peter Elbers, saying that the reduction will help the airline manage the crisis triggered by the new pilot duty norms. The Delhi High Court will be hearing a plea by the affected flyers shortly. And in a major twist, sources also suggest that IndiGo has sold heavily discounted tickets, at least 40 to 50% off, just weeks before thousands of flights were cancelled. Now, despite knowing the FDTL rule charges were incoming, the airline did not hire more pilots or adjust the scheduling, leading to over 2,000 cancellations in just a month's time and airport-wide chaos.
IndiGo is back on its feet and our operations are stable. We've let you down when a major operational disruption happened. Lakhs of customers have already received their full refunds, and we continue to do so on a daily basis. Most of the bags stuck at the airport have already been delivered back to your homes, and we also continue to address all customer needs. As of yesterday, we are back of flying to all our 138 destinations in our network. We continue to work in full cooperation with the government. And now that the immediate crisis is dealt with, we started to focus internally on what has led to this, lessons learned to be drawn, and how to emerge stronger from this.
Strict and appropriate action, as empowered under the Aircraft Rules and Act, will be taken. No airline, however large, will be permitted to cause such hardship to passengers through planning failures, non-compliance, or non-adherence to statutory provisions. Policies, we are encouraging more new airlines to start and operate in India, ensuring fair access to airport capacity. Operations are stabilizing fast. Safety remains fully in force. IndiGo is being held accountable. Passengers' convenience and dignity are being protected, and long-term measures are underway to make India's aviation sector stronger and more passenger-centric.
It is the government of India which is now on its knees asking IndiGo to keep flying and giving them all kinds of concessions. And why should we look at only blaming the airline? Because the airline continue to do what it does. It will continue to capture a market which has no competition. It is for the Aviation Ministry as well as the DGCA to have ensured that there is no monopoly in the skies. They should have actively encouraged other airlines to capture more market space. Clearly, the government of India has buckled. The government of India has been found incompetent, sleeping at the wheel, and only this disruption could lead to them being able to actually hold someone to account. And also, let me ask them, I would want to know from IndiGo, while all the flights were disrupted, how is it that the flight to Thailand took off, taking away two main accused in the Goa fire tragedy?
Let me take this across to my colleague Payal Mehta, who is now with us on the broadcast. Payal, there are serious questions that are being asked by the government of IndiGo Airlines. There was that meeting that was conducted, which also had DGCA reps in attendance. But pulling up by the government is one thing, but a relaxation is also something that is being questioned as to why this kind of a leeway has been given to IndiGo in the first place. Ram Mohan Naidu, while speaking in the parliament, particularly the lower house, has also mentioned about how they will be encouraging more and more private players to get into the aviation sector. But that's a larger plan. What is the government really thinking of doing when it is about the current crisis vis-a-vis IndiGo?
I'm glad, Griha, that you asked this question, because that's the question that multiple people want to really ask, that, what is going to happen in the future. You do not have a new airline coming into the system overnight. There has to be a systematic approach which has to be applied as well. There are many people who will tell you that probably the norms have been very, very stringent, are not allowing many foreign players to come into the fray as well. Those have to be looked up again as well. But there is also another focus that the government wants to really say that, people need from within the country to step into the space which is already thriving. Having said that nobody is denying in the government that, of course, there was a situation which was really there. But the first and the big challenge for the government, Griha, over here was to make sure that the passenger convenience was taken care of. And therefore, multiple steps in that direction were taken in the last 72 hours or last 84 hours that you really speak about. The need of the hour was to make sure that the refunds are processed in quick time. The need of the hour is to make sure that all those people who missed their baggages were really said. The government, out of its whims and fancies, has not cut down 10% of IndiGo's flights as well. Those have been mathematically calculated because IndiGo doesn't seem to have the staff in place. And that is something that we've been breaking on our channel from day one, saying that IndiGo will be allowed to fly only those flights for which they can guarantee that their entire crew will be there. In any case, IndiGo flies on very, very minimal staff, if you've seen, and I'm sure you've traveled on multiple